One more here on this show. And number 9 is a guy who we saw only briefly last year, unfortunately, because he was off to an unbelievable start.
Dak Prescott. Don't forget about him just because his ankle was turned the wrong way, okay? All right? Don't forget. This guy, there is the side eye to me going, nope, I'm not accepting any less money than maximum amount. But to me, this is like the big soldier, the ultimate leader. I mean, just you go back and watch Dak Prescott, you don't realize how awesome he is until you watch. You don't realize that, man, Dallas Cowboys, they didn't have a prayer if Dak Prescott ain't in the game early on in the year. I mean, as I said to you before the podcast, I said, you know what's crazy about Dak Prescott? Forget this talent and that he's got, again, I know we're in a run here of guys that are really had awesome years throwing the ball down the field. And I know Prescott only played 4 or 5 games, but they're a team, again, other than a slant route, they're looking to strike. They're not like, there's no like bubble screens and all that. They drop back and they want 20, 30-yard completions to their high-octane weapons at wide receiver and doing that. And he's amazing at that. He's like a Tannehill, like just there's never yards left on the field. It's never like, ooh, the guy's wide open down the middle and he had to turn around and he fell down and he went down there. No, it's on the money. The guy keeps running. It's a touchdown. He's great with that. The toughness, we know that. The athleticism, unreal. Here's the other thing that jumped out to me more than anything. You know, you've heard me say with some of these guys, like they got to have a feel of when to push the limit, when to take over, when to scramble. First off, I believe this guy has that, okay? And the other thing is he's got a great feel of like being stubborn in the pocket and going, I'm going to stand here because somebody's about to come open. And okay, I know it looks like it's getting hectic, but I'm going to stand here because I can see he's about to come open. And he's great at throwing under pressure that way. But he's also got this innate feel of like, oh, wait, the same thing's happening. And he realizes nothing's really going to come out. Like nothing. There's no point in me holding in it, tapping it this time. Nothing's going to come out. Let me run. He's got a great feel of like when to hang in there and I'll just play in the trash and I think I can make a throw, and then when to just go, wait, it's getting a little too trashy in here. Let me get the hell out of here and do something that way. And, of course, he's great on the run. So he's unbelievable pocket pressure thrower, but he's got more than that. And I know we've talked about some quarterbacks here on the list where you just go, you got to have that backyard element, make plays, do that thing. And he's got a great blend of both, and that's why they can be deadly on offense.
So this list is all about quarterbacks that you would take for this one season. He is coming off a major, major ankle injury. Yeah. Positive reports out of camp so far with him. He hasn't done everything, but he said this to the Dallas News. He goes, I've buried the injury. He said, I've buried it mentally, and I think you guys in the media and a lot of people around have to help me and bury it as we move forward. He doesn't want to talk about it anymore. He says, put that right on the tombstone. I will say there's a danger in that. We obsess about what we try to suppress. So there is a little bit of a danger. Don't try to not think about it, because then you end up thinking about it more. But it seems like he's got a good attitude, and he's got to trust the ankle moving forward, because if he can't do that, he loses some of that mobility and playmaking ability.
Yeah, it's where he's really damn good. He's a high-level thrower. He's got an aggressive mindset. He's a really good down-the-field thrower. He really is. And the ankle thing, I watched the clips last week when they're at their mini camp or their OTAs or whatever it was. You could tell it's still not 100%, but it's good enough. Like, I take him at his word where he goes, if I had to play a game today, I could. He would. I don't know if he'd be able to turn the corner and maybe on a read option and run 20, 30 yards, but he could be effective enough.
And that's got to be so hard. Trusting, after an injury like that, where it wasn't just, ligament, it was like a compound fracture on top of a dislocation.
Right.
I mean, just getting to the point where you just feel like every time I cut, I know it's going to be fine. But I guess it comes the more you do it.
Exactly right. That's all. You just got to keep doing it. That's why you practice. That's why you continue to do drills.
Did you have any teammates that were able to successfully come back from a gruesome injury that you remember? Or
not that I remember, but you can block it out of your mind. There was this one guy, this dumb blonde from Jersey, who lost his spleen once.
I'm sure.
And but what happens is, you get on the field. When it starts to be competition, you got to think about what you think. I got to think about the play, the blitz pickup. I don't got time to think about, is my fucking spleen going to hold up? Or, he'll get to the point there where he's not going to worry about it. Where he's at now as compared to where he'll be 6 weeks from now when training camp comes and everything, he'll be another 10, 15% better then. All those reps during training camp, they'll watch him during 11-on-11 drills a little bit and all of those type of things to where he'll continue to gain that confidence to where, he might not be totally 100% to start the year, but I don't think it's going to be far off from anything I've heard. He's got it all, man. He's a great leader. Yeah. There's another guy that's where it's like you got to give him something for what he brings to the football team.
Year. I mean, with Tony Romo there, right? It was
that's
just
what
like
I mean.
People were like, we'll get behind this guy.
The team
Dak Prescott.
loves him. He brings an element to the run game that doesn't get valued enough. But you see this. I mean, when I went back again and watched last year a little bit, one of the things I did say to you, we usually don't talk much before the pod, but one of the things I did say to you is he literally, in those first 5 games, he played 2 games. I mean, he had zero help at all. Zero help. It was the worst defense we had seen in the history of football when he was playing there early in the year. And he had games where he's playing perfect. He's playing, you're going, he's awesome. He's on fire. You're going, what? They're down 28-10? Like, you look at the score and you're like, they've drove the ball down. They drove the ball down. They drove the ball down. Somebody dropped the pass. They didn't get the 3rd down. And you look at it and you go, whoa, they're down by 14. Whoa. I mean, he was the only reason they were in some of those games, let alone help them with those comebacks and everything like that. That's where he's special too. He's got great leadership that way. He is the guy you want leading your football team in so many ways, and I give him a lot of credit for that too.
He was throwing for over 400 yards if you couldn't see it on YouTube there. He was throwing for over 400 yards per game in the 4 games. He was on pace to shatter both the records for attempts and yards. He would have thrown for over 6,700 yards if those would have held up. I guess the question, and Pete,
I think he would have broke the record last year.
You do think he would have?
I really do.
That would have been the only way they could play.
I think it was exactly right. I think he would have broke the passing yard record last year. I do. Just with their weapons, his ability to throw the ball down the field, their defense was so bad that they had to always answer the bell. And, that's where, the games we're talking about, Atlanta, where they came back and won, and Cleveland. He's really awesome early on in the game. I mean, he's awesome. He's making great throws, great decisions, but their defense can't stop anything, and they're just getting blown out early on. So it was tough. But you saw the importance of him to what he is to that team when he went out. They weren't nearly the same offense or as explosive.
Yeah, so we have that as well, because when we were talking about Andy Dalton, I was trying to talk up Andy Dalton, looking at the numbers and being like, all right, well, how much did they fall off after Andy Dalton, who you like and you think is still a good quarterback? There was a significant fall off, and we're seeing it right now. Points per game went down by about 8 points per game. Passing yards per game went down by about 200. Passing yards per game, yards per attempt down significantly. The touchdown to interception ratio was not as good. So there was a huge fall off, and I guess that's the question for the Cowboys now. It's like, God forbid something happens to Dak again. You got Cooper Rush, Garrett Gilbert, Ben DiNucci.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not great. You had Andy Dalton last year, and I think this is where we go back and forth a little bit. I might think about this a little different than you. It's like we obviously see how important it is to have a good backup quarterback. It's the most important position maybe in all of sports.
Right.
But I often think that if your starting quarterback goes down, you're probably screwed no matter what. It's like it's very rarely are you going to be able to salvage the year for an extended period. It's like Teddy Bridgewater can come in for 5 games and give you 5 wins. But if Drew Brees was out for the rest of the year, do they really have the same high-end ceiling?
No.
No,
you're right. You're right. You want a really good backup quarterback if you got a really good team.
Yeah.
That's the Saints are that way. Nick Foles of the Eagles back in that day. That's why you want it. Man, our team's really good. Mm-hmm. The quarterback's not making our team. Our quarterback makes us better, but we're really good even if we had a little lesser quarterback. That's where it is. And I think the Cowboys kind of thought they were that team before last year. If you remember, they thought in that
division, why wouldn't you think you're a playoff
you think you're that team? But, of course, they had all the issues of the defense and everything like that to where it was a year where, a good backup quarterback, but you need a superstar quarterback to help this team out. Mm-hmm. And we saw that. And that's where, he's a difference maker that way. You say what you want. Again, that stat sheet doesn't even say it all. You know, he does justice to the offensive line. He makes Ezekiel Elliott in the run game better. Yeah, not only because of his passing, but of course he has much more of a running aspect to his game as compared to an Andy Dalton too. That helps out the rest of the running game and those things. You know, so that's where he's damn good. He's a legit threat. Like once you get inside the 10, to keep the ball and run for a touchdown. Mm-hmm. They can design plays or he can scramble that way. So he brings a little of everything to the table. And I'm happy they got paid and everything like that. Yeah. And he's the man.
Did you ever take a victory lap on that? On the contract for Dak at all?
Oh, you mean the fact that I was kind of right?
$160 million deal, right. 126 in guarantees. Puts him up there with the highest paid quarterbacks of all time. I feel like that's something that you said at some point. That
I did.
Tried really hard to throw water on.
Yeah, no. Well, yeah, Ian Rapshit, he said something. So that kind of, started it right there.
Yeah.
He got called by the agent and said, send out a tweet to, dispel Chris Simms and what he's saying.
Yeah, he's wrong. He didn't say how you were wrong.
He just said I was wrong.
He was like,
don't believe Chris Simms.
Don't believe, but it was
don't believe rap shit.
All you were saying is that he didn't want the 5-year deal. Dak's side wanted the 4-year deal. Yeah. Guess what it turned out to be?
A 4-year deal.
4-year deal.
Yeah. What was that 4th year worth too? It's like the 4th year deal. I think it's worth what? What did Chris say it was going to be? $45 million. I think it was.
Yeah. Did you take a proper victory lap on that or no?
No, I really didn't. But I'm calling him rap shit right now, so that feels good. So maybe I'll hear from him later today or something like that. It's all in good fun. I don't care that he did that to me, all that, but I am going to bust him when I get a chance every now and then.
Yeah. Pete cares.
Pete cares.
I care as well.
One more rap shit. However he did that to me.
Yeah. So Chris was right, although no one wants to say that now. But you were right on him. Hopefully you're right on Dak, because I think a lot of people would love to see him come back and have even if you hate the Cowboys, which a lot of people do.
I know.
You don't hate Dak Prescott, which says a lot about that guy.
Well, I feel like there was more of a negative aspect around him, too, before he got hurt. I feel like him getting hurt last year brought some of the Cowboy fans that were a little bit of the Dak Prescott haters to go, oh, wait, okay, yeah, he's better than I thought he was. Mm-hmm. He is a little bit more important to our team than I gave him credit for.
Yes.
Yeah. Andy Dalton was not on the same stratosphere as Dak Prescott as a quarterback. And that was very apparent last year.
Yeah, and so one more thing, because Pete and I are still angry.
Yeah.
We have the highest paid quarterback contract through the first 4 years. Kristen, do we have that one yet? Here it is. And guess what? Dak Prescott's number one. Wanted to make him, you tweeted, wants to make him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. And guess what? He got it. But I guess it was all false a few months ago.
Yeah.
We got to take I think we got to do this every podcast now.
Fine.
I want this to, if that doesn't get out, we're going to do it again.
Okay.
And again until it gets out.
I like that. I'm down for that.
Okay.
I can get behind that.
That is the Chris Simms Top 40 Quarterback Countdown in partnership with Woodford Reserve Bourbon.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.